Hey, how's it going, everyone? So what am I working on now? Well, I got a 2013 Dodge Journey and just put a transmission in it, a reman. So I have to quick learn it, which is a process that you have to do so it learns its clutch volumes and stuff like that. But one thing I wanted to show you, a lot of you know that these transmissions do not come with dipsticks. A lot of transmissions nowadays do not come with dipsticks. However, this one you're lucky enough to where you have access under the hood, and you need a factory type or factory tool dipstick or an aftermarket or whatever to actually check the fluid. But do you really need that special tool? No, you don't. It's really only a dipstick. Even if you have any other type of car that has an access tube with a cap on it that you can take the cap off, I know Nissans have them. There's plenty of other manufacturers. Those are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head. Chrysler does it, and I know Nissan does it. But what do you do? Well, it depends. On these, the actual tube that the dipstick goes into is short enough where you can use the engine oil dipstick. You just have to measure it after you get it out. On like Nissans and stuff like that, depends on how long it is. Can you use the factory dipstick? Yeah, sure, if it'll go all the way to the bottom. If it doesn't go all the way to the bottom, then you got to figure something else out. Maybe even like a mechanic's wire, they call it, or the electrician's feed wire, because that's kind of like a spring steel. You know what I'm talking about? Like if you're running wiring in your house and you got to like catch it from one end and you pull it through the wall and stuff, it's that wire. That works very well, actually. So let me just show you something here real quick. All right, so I got my scanner hooked up because you need to know the temperature of the tranny fluid. Usually that's about an average temperature. The car's been running and idling. I put fluid in it, and now I just got to check it. So it's at about 123 degrees. So here is the scale. So you figure 123 degrees, somewhere around here. So your minimum fluid level is going to be about, like just over half, up a 4 3/4, something in that range. And you can go all the way up to a little over 1.25 inches, just before 1.5 inches, something in that range. You know, I'm just trying to make this easy. So here, on these transmissions, so you see it, the tube is right there, and they come with this cap in there. You take the cap out, and then you have that open tube. These tubes here are hot as anything, as it's got engine coolant in it. So here I took out the engine dipstick, which goes right there. I wiped it off, and I can use this and stick it down in the hole. And you put it until it bottoms out. There, it bottomed out. You can feel it's bottomed out. And you see it's not all the way in. It's bottomed out. Pull it out. Okay. So now you can see the fluid level on there. I know it's a little difficult to see because of lighting. But basically it's right there. See it right to that point? That's the level. Okay. So now I know that's pretty darn good. Let me get a tape measure just to be certain. And of course, every tape measure I've ever owned, the lock always breaks. Every single time. So here we're going, and I am about a little over 1.25 inches. So, what do we say? 123, so about half. So if we go up to the max, we're just over 1.25 inches. I still have to road test it, so there may be a channel or two inside the valve body that may need fluid, possibly. So it's at the top end of the of where they recommend. So I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly fine with it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to road test this. But what I have to do is I have to do that quick learn. So I'm going to get this thing off the lift, we're going to back it outside, and then we're going to do the quick learn. And I'm going to show you that. But first, I got to put the dipstick back in. Oh my God, you didn't wipe the transmission fluid off of it. Nope, it's not going to affect anything. So let me back this out, and we'll do the quick learn. A little bit of transmission fluid in the engine oil actually can help unstick lifters and stuff like that. That little bit down there, it won't do anything. But I've been known to take a full quart and put in like my own engines and then drive them 500 to 1,000 miles with a quarter transmission fluid in there. I've even done so much as run straight transmission fluid in it and drive the car 250 to 500 miles just to help clear up some sticking lifters. I know somebody that did it in their 6-liter Cadillac Escalade and drove 3,000 miles using nothing but transmission fluid to clear up some debris that was in the motor, because I guess what happened was he bought the vehicle and it had a lot of sludge in it, and he did that to help break it up. And he did it once for 500 miles, did it again for 3,000 miles. So didn't damage anything, and he drove the car for many years after that. So just as an FYI, transmission fluid is like one of the only things that actually works. So yeah, let's get this thing outside. Okay, so I backed out of the shop. I could have done it in the shop, but just I prefer to back them out of the shop when I do this. I don't know why. I guess maybe for fear of possibly something locking up in the transmission, which I've never experienced or heard of, but maybe something that's psychological inside this empty shell up here. But yeah, so on the scanner, I come here. Oh, this thing does have a check engine light on. I don't know if I mentioned it before. It's for the ambient air temperature sensor. This thing was hit in the front and it's crushed. So there's nothing I can do to do. There's nothing I can do about it unless they wanted to replace that sensor, and they don't want to. So it is what it is. But yeah, so here in the menu for it, where you can read fault codes and data and everything else, I just backed out to the main menu, and here you have special function. Now on this vehicle, you do transmission and engine in the same PCM. It doesn't have a separate transmission control module. Some cars do, some cars don't. This one does not. So we're going to go to Quick Learn. Function may change the state of the vehicle. Yes, please exercise caution. Function will initiate Quick Learn. Okay, that's great. Engine must be running. Brake must be pressed. Park and brake set. Okay, park and brake is set. Move shift lever to OD. Shift to neutral. You hear the RPMs going up. Start sequence, move lever to OD. Oop, and I can feel it. Okay. Quick Learn is complete. Shift to park. Okay. Diagnostic service failure. Please start again. Okay, that's kind of weird. Don't know what that was all about because it completed the Quick Learn. Unsure what went on there. Not overly concerned. Sometimes you get glitches. Basically, I wanted to make sure I didn't have like anything plugged into the OBD connector that you can see the pod plugged into. Non-turbo, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah, it completely backed itself out for whatever reason, so I'm not overly concerned with it, but I just want to get back into the menu. I'm going to let that do what it's got to do. I'm going to take it for a ride and see what it does. Make sure everything's okay, because the last 62 TE that we got that was rebuilt, we have to do again. And I made a video on that. It was for that minivan. So, same transmission. So, all right, let's go for a ride, see what it does. Okay, so it shifts fine. It shifts great. The very first 5th and 6th gear shift was a little wonky, and I attribute that to fluid having to flow exactly where it needs to go. If I'm not mistaken, the Quick Learn only affects 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It doesn't affect 5th and 6th on this. So 5th and 6th are like a learned procedure. The whole thing, actually, if you can't do this with a scanner, it can be a learned process. So, see if you can guess what this car has. Ready? Hold on 1 second. Get ready. See if you can guess by the sound it makes. Woo! Did you see how I got thrown back in the seat from all that power and performance from the cold air intake? That cold air intake that's sucking heat from the engine bay. Yeah. Performance right there. All right, let's get back to the shop and let's check the fluid level. Okay, so here we are underneath the hood. There you see that incredible cold air intake. Because there's no hot air around here at all. This is not warm one bit. you know, the air that would come through here and go through a closed system, that wouldn't be cooler than this. Not at all. Okay. Anyway, so here's the engine oil dipstick. We're going to take that out. Let me wipe this thing off. Hold on one second because I can't do this single-handedly. All right, so that's nice and clean. Oops, forgot I got to take that cap off. I did mention it. They have a cap on them. All right. And just be careful so you don't burn yourself on that pipe, because that pipe is hot. So there, you got to twist and pull at the same time. Push it in till it bottoms out. Bottomed out. And Yankee it out. Now I made a little diagram here. And it's going up to just about the 1.5 inch mark. But now I still have the scanner hooked up. I'm sure the temperature is up higher, so it's just about the 1.5 inch mark there. So the temperature would have to be about a little bit over 140. Let's see what the actual scanner says. Whoops. Now, in case you're wondering, the reason this transmission actually let go in this car, because it's got less than 100,000 miles on it, the dipstick tube where it goes through the front cover, it actually cracked. So this thing was leaking out fluid, and through the time of leaking out fluid, I guess it leaked out enough that it was starving it for fluid. Trans oil temperature. Okay, hold on. $170. So 170 will get me all the way up there. So yeah, I am like right dead in the middle. So I knew before, being even a little on the high side, it would be fine once the temperature got up. So I'm good with that. All right, so that's it. I just gotta put the engine cover back on, and this is all ready to go back to the customer. It shifts beautiful, so I'm happy with that. All right, if you look below in the description, you'll see there's King Bolin actually has a big sale on these things on this scanner, so I'll just put a link there in case you're interested. I'm not asking you to do it, but just if you want to give it a click, go right ahead. It's Black Friday things. So anyway, that's about it. I don't want to get into that. Put the dipstick back in, put the engine cover back on, back to the customer. All set, good to go. All right, so hopefully you learned something with that. You know, how to check your tranny fluid with just using the engine oil dipstick. Nothing special needed. All right, guys, that's it. Or getting something out of my videos. If you already hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, have a great day. Keep wrenching.